Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the final live spoiler discussion of Season 1 of Daredevil Born Again. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're in the live chat, we're going to be interacting with each other, talking about the finale, full spoilers, Season 1, Episode 1. But ladies and gentlemen, it's the finale, so you know what that means. It means we got the amazing Nick Iricchio with us. Nick, how are you, my friend?
I am feeling devilish.
There it is.
Punishable?
Punishable is,
Born again.
there you go. I think that's the best one, to say you're feeling born again. Man, oh man, oh man.
And this did make me feel alive, let me tell you that much.
Yeah, and listen, first of all, before we even get into the episode, let's talk about this. We saw this episode like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And we've
been sitting with this knowledge.
We've had to sit with this for so long. It's been terrible. By the way, our full review for the full season of Daredevil Born Again, non-spoilers, is on the channel. You can find it. And like, dude, you know what's been fun? So there's a thing that sucks about watching the whole thing, and there's a thing that's fun. The fun thing is watching all of the theories that are wrong and being like, oh man, that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But what's also fun is when people actually get pretty close, and you're like, dang, they're on to something. But what sucks is holding on to this for 2 months, being like, how am I not supposed to talk about the fact that they're going to build an army next season and how Daredevil or Kingpin popped a dude's head like a fucking zit? Like, how am I just supposed to sit on this?
I just don't understand how they allowed that. Yet Moon Knight, they cut away from the action.
Well, listen, I think if they were to do Moon Knight Season 2, I think it would be TVMA, by the way. I think it would have to be.
Yeah, you can't do that. Honestly, they should all be TVMA after this.
For sure. But you know, it's one of those things where, Marvel's finally gotten to the point of like, oh, we'll allow this, and hopefully they continue. Let's dive into the episode now. So it starts off with a flashback to Vanessa Fisk visiting Bullseye in prison, where she basically is going to hire him to kill Ben and Foggy. Now, what is kind of interesting about this is you actually get some of the answers you've been waiting for in between season 3 and now for a long time, where essentially everything that Nadeem did to get Fisk arrested, that whole corruption scandal, eventually led to him getting acquitted, which, at first I had mixed feelings about, but after thinking about it, like, he was definitely in prison. Like, it was not like he was immediately acquitted. Like, I think it just eventually he became acquitted because of all of it. But Nadeem did get a shout out, which was fun. That was fun to see.
We love a Nadeem reference here.
Yes, we do. We love Agent Nadeem. And then during
that... Put him in the box that the hand has that resurrects people.
Absolutely. Get his bones in there. But something else that I found very interesting is how Vanessa was manipulating Dex the way that Kingpin would manipulate people. Like, she really was the Kingpin. Like, she even wore white. Like, she had everything. Mm-hmm. Just telling them, like, you're the best at what you do. That's why I'm coming here. You don't deserve to be on this medicine. You deserve to, be out there doing what you do. Let's make you free. And essentially offers to give him his freedom if he does this. And, then obviously we cut back to after the party where Matt takes the bullet for Fisk and he's in the hospital. And you get this really funny moment where when he finally wakes up in the hospital, Kirsten and Heather are in there. And when Heather grabs him, he goes, Karen? Like, every time I watch it, I get like that, that immediate, like, oh, that's rough. That's Ross saying the wrong name at the altar and Friends level bad. And then, you know what? Kirsten is a G. Because as soon as that happened and Heather, like, looks, doesn't know how to look, Kirsten just goes, it's probably just the drugs. Like, Kirsten stepped in. She stepped up for Matt. But obviously, him and Heather not getting along because he immediately goes into, Kirsten, it was Vanessa that killed Foggy. And Heather's like, Jesus Christ. Again, him on Fisk. And she basically just is trying to be like, hey, like, I don't know what's going on with you. And he's like, look, I know it's crazy. It sounds conspiracy, but, like, I'm telling you it's true. And even Kirsten at first was kind of, like, iffy about it because he says, hey, Kirsten, I know how crazy this sounds. And she goes, nope, I don't think you do. I don't think you know how crazy it sounds. And, like, just, Kirsten eventually did have his back, though. But, while he's in the hospital, we then see Fisk and Vanessa, and you get to see basically her tell him, she's about to tell him about Foggy, and he says, I know. And then they kind of sit there and realize, like, this is bad. This is a bad situation to be in. And then Buck comes in and starts talking to Kingpin, and Buck tells him, hey, the optics don't look good because he just saved your life publicly. And Kingpin says, on the contrary, wouldn't it be a shame if he succumbed to his injuries at the hands of a vigilante? And basically sends Buck to go kill Matt Murdock. Like that was the move from Fisk. Immediately, he's Kingpin again. He's like, go take him out. He said he wouldn't be Daredevil. He did. Fuck him. And Buck shows up to the hospital, but of course Matt gets away in his little gown, which was great, with the help of the city, them shutting off power to the city. You know, he gets back to his apartment. He walks in, he lays down and says something along the lines of, like, we were the last person I expected to be here, and it's fucking Frank Castle, baby. And he makes a great joke about how he needs to prepare his house more to have more coffee when the power goes out. And they have a great bicker. Dude, the chemistry with Jon Bernthal and Charlie Cox has always been great. And earlier in the season, we got a really emotional scene with them. So it was very cool to get a humorous, funny, and action-packed sequence, which leads into the task force going to Matt's apartment and fucking Daredevil and Punisher just fucking them up for so long. And a choice that I really liked in the directing of it from Benson and Moorhead was seeing all of Matt's action is shot at normal pace. All of Punisher's in that moment was shot in slow motion. And you can almost see Punisher just slowly enjoying like killing these guys. Like he's salivating, he's smiling as he's stabbing them, and it's slower. It's
these
almost
fanboys.
Like, yeah. It's almost like for him, it's like finally. And he literally says when they're coming up to the apartment, he says, "I'm not playing patty cake with these fanboys. I'm gonna bury them." I hope you understand. It's just like that's what I'm talking about. Before we get
what a line too. I'm not playing patty cake.
Yeah. And, before we get further into the episode, your thoughts on kind of just this first half of everything, culminating with that fight at the apartment.
Yeah, no, I won the reveal with Vanessa. I think that she honestly is the standout of this entire season.
Mm.
I thought that what they did with her character and with her story, I thought was fantastic. I feel, as we've mentioned before, bad for the actress that was originally cast, because clearly they gave her shit to do. And like she is like a pivotal part of this series. So I am glad that they brought back the actress that played her on the Netflix shows. I think she's always done a great job with the character. And watching Fisk kind of deal with her becoming a kingpin as well, I thought made for a great dynamic with their relationship as well. And harkening back to a few episodes ago when Heather is like, is he like, are you okay with him? And just her be like, oh, Wilson could never hurt me. And just like that power shift dynamic, I thought was great. The hospital scene, I agree was cringeworthy. Kirsten McDuffie, I thought was a great addition to the cast. Replacing Foggy is not an easy task. As a fan favorite, and I'm not saying that she did replace him, but obviously Matt's new partner. But I thought she did a great job from episode 1. I was like, a lot of her storylines were kind of shafted in the creative overhaul. So I do hope that she does play maybe a little more prevalent role in season 2. And I mean the apartment fight, Punisher and Daredevil. I mean, what more do you need, honestly? Like their chemistry is probably the best in the entire show. Both of them just own those characters. They understand the characters fully. And when you reach that level, you're able to just have fun with it. And as violent as it was, that was them having fun with it. That is a comic book fan's dream to see this Punisher and this Daredevil on screen together again, just fucking shit up.
Yes. And to your point about Kirsten, too, replacing Foggy obviously is a big task, and that's why they really didn't. And I think it was smart on the writers where they didn't just put her in the Foggy position and have her be like the same buddy-buddy dynamic when the same storylines and everything. Like, she's a completely different foil to Matt that Foggy was. And I thought that was a really great decision in having that happen, because if you tried to just put her in the same exact foil in the same exact position, it would have come across as like, oh, I don't like this. But how they handled it, and I think the actress does a great job. Is it Nikki James? Is that her name? I think she does a really great job.
I'm not too sure. I feel like I just saw her in something as well for it. I was like, oh, that's her.
Yeah, Nikki M. James. Yeah.
Nikki M.
Really, really great job. And going back into this episode.
Oh, Severance. She was on Severance.
Oh, nice. Going back into this episode, I think that they finally see Cole North and they realize that he's the one that killed Hector Ayala. And there's a great moment where Punisher realizes it, and then Daredevil hits him across the face with his baton. He's standing there. We flash back to Hector. We flash back to Foggy. He's thinking about it, and Punisher's literally out of focus, like the devil on his shoulder, like, do it. You can do it, Matt. Just kill him. He's right there, which I just love Punisher being a little dick. There you go. And he obviously decides not to do it. Frank then tries to kill him, and Daredevil says, no, he's not worth it. And he goes, oh, yeah? And then just looks at the other guy on the ground and shoots him. He goes, was he worth it? And then they start fighting. I love it.
Punisher, those moments with Punisher, I know a lot of the time it's just the same beat, but man, does it work every time.
Every time.
Just like cold blood. Like, especially in, I think it was season 2 of his show when the girl he's looking after, like, she shoots the person. She's like, I killed him. And he just goes, bah, no, I killed him.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it just, I don't know. Something about that beat just always works for me.
Yeah, it never gets old. And I loved seeing, the grenade comes in. They jump off of the roof. Daredevil swings with Punisher. And a little comedic bit that, like, you really have to listen for it. Because even with, like, my surround sound, like, it's not the most obvious thing. But, like, Frank is clearly scared when he swings them. And he makes a noise. It's like, oh, like when he takes them. It's very subtle, but you can hear it.
Go rewatch that. I didn't catch that.
It's very subtle, but you can hear it. And when they get up, Karen shows up to Morgan's detriment. But I was really happy to see her. I love the Karen Page character.
She audibly booed.
But one of the best jokes of the show is Karen gets out. They look at her. She says, "Get in the car," and Daredevil goes, "Shotgun," and Frank just goes, like, I just loved that little dynamic, that little back and forth, and it was, I love that. And then they go to Punisher's little hideout, and they're getting patched up, and the camera work here, the directing, they do a really good job of showing that Karen chooses to patch up Matt, and Punisher's patching up himself. But the camera is shot between them, and you see Frank in the mirror working on himself, and he's almost trying to listen to what they're talking about. They're really playing up the love triangle between the three of them, and honestly, if they all just fucked each other, I think that would be fine, and Disney Plus would probably allow it now. But having that dynamic, and Frank and Karen clearly having also like an emotional tug toward each other, as they leave, Frank basically says, like, I'm not for that Inspector Gadget bullshit. You asked me to do a favor. I did the favor. I'm done. And Karen basically tells him, she goes, I don't buy this act that you're pulling off. I do think that you care, and I do think that you're going to do something, and kind of leaves. And then her and Matt go to check files, because what we find out is Foggy found out that the Red Hook port is a free port, meaning that crimes can't be committed there. There's under no jurisdiction, and he was going to get his client off with that thing, but then turns out Kingpin's whole plan was to reutilize that section of the dock so that he can do his crime shit. And that's why Vanessa had him killed. And when they discover that, they're in the storage unit, they're talking, there's a great exchange where Matt tells Karen, when you and Frank are in the same room, I could hear your heartbeats. And then she, like, pauses and goes, yeah, you heard his heartbeat? And he goes, yep. And then she just goes, just adrenaline, I'm sure. And then she says, did you hear mine when I saw you? And Matt goes, yep, just adrenaline, I'm sure. And just, like, playing up that whole dynamic. But then, they start to reminisce a little bit, and they find a box of old stuff, and they see the avocados at law thing. Oh, so I was so upset. I was so sad. But it was a great scene. And, we also see Michael Gandolfini kind of becoming Kingpin Jr. over there, where he goes to the senators to try to blackmail them into voting for Fisk's new bill that's going to, like, quote unquote, protect the city. And then you get one of the best moments in the show's history, which is an intercut sequence between Kingpin confronting the Commissioner and the Punisher confronting the task force. Seeing the Punisher just absolutely tear through those bitches was so great to see. It was amazing. And of course, they're using non-lethals on him because Kingpin wants the vigilantes captured and because they idolize him. And one of the best sequences in the show was seeing all the cops with, bullshit versions of his logo on them, sitting around Frank basically saying like, hey man, why don't you come work for us instead? We love you. We're inspired by your work. And Frank telling those motherfuckers, you guys are a bunch of fucking clowns. I hate you. You think you know my pain. You think you know what I've been through. You don't know shit. And he even says the line, I wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. And it was so amazing to see that interaction. And then we got to talk about the moment of the episode, Nick. When Kingpin just squeezed the fuck out of that commissioner's head and just ripped his mouth open, his head open. On a practical effects level, what a fucking accomplishment. It felt so real.
And on a performance level from Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes.
Good Lord.
It was unbelievable. I loved every second of it. I'm a big fan of fake violence. Itched me in a place that felt good. Loved it. Loved seeing it.
Yo.
And it was just one of those things where that was kind of the oh shit, Kingpin's back moment, was seeing that. And it was just so gory, so violent. Like, I was surprised. Like, even on the show, like, yeah, they're saying the F word now. Like, I was kind of shocked, like, Disney would do that, but not entirely shocked. That I was shocked that Disney let them do that, as you mentioned earlier. Like, I was like, wow, okay, very cool.
It's just like, it's full frame, too. Like,
yeah.
It's just like, it's like, hey, watch this.
No, 100%. And it also just goes to, I think, is one of the most underrated moments of the whole show. And I've been waiting for 2 months to talk about this moment. And that is one character that I really didn't care about was the character of Sheila, the person kind of working for Fisk in the mayor's office. I thought the performance by Sabrina Guevara, was fine. Like, I thought she's doing a really good job, and I like her dynamic with Michael Gandolfini's character. However, I am suddenly interested in her character from one sequence, and it's when she talks to the commissioner before he was killed, and he's telling her, like, hey, I'm going to the state, department tomorrow. I'm going to get a bunch of legal shit, get Fisk out of here. Are you with me? And she ratted on him. And she told Fisk she's playing the recording while Fisk is in his office. And the shot where she's in the hallway crying, like not realizing, one, if she made the right choice, but two, she's making this choice because she's protecting herself. Like she's just so frightened by what she's seen at this point. And she doesn't know that Fisk is going to kill him. And when the episode ends, I still think she doesn't know that he's dead. Because she keeps trying to ask Fisk where he is. And then he just goes on TV and says, oh, the police commissioner has retired. And it resigned. And it cuts to her just like, does she believe him or not? Like, I think that's going to be a very interesting story next season. And I didn't care about that character at all. I suddenly am interested in how...
See, I dug the character. Especially in the episode with, I think it's right after not James Gandolfini. I'm so sorry.
Michael
Gandolfini tells BB some information, and he owns up, and she's just like, stick with me. I was here long before you, and I assure you I am going to be here long after you. So to actually see that sort of come back full circle with that moment of her like realizing it's her or the other person.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great character beat to hit.
And I'm wondering if she's going to end up betraying Fisk. I'm wondering how that's going to go down.
Yeah, I wonder.
Because I've seen some great theories online saying that Michael Gandolfini is going to get, his head's going to get too big. And right when he thinks he's his own Fisk, they're going to pin a lot of the illegal activities on him. And that's how they're going to take care of Daniel Blake. And it's like, ooh, that's an interesting theory. So
I can see that.
Yeah, so that'll be cool to see. There's some people who think he is Fisk's son from the comics, and he's just keeping that a secret from him. I wouldn't hate that if they wrote it correctly, but, they have to write it correctly. I would have to see how they were going to do that.
I don't think I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah, it would have to be planted well. Now, also in the episode, Punisher gets captured. Daredevil is about to go in and try to save his life and kick the shit out of people, but Karen talks some sense into him and says, Matt, if you go in there right now, you are going to die. Like, he's shot, he's still wounded, he's barely standing. She's like, they're going to kill you if you go in there. And we can't beat Fisk tonight, is basically what she tells him. She goes, but it doesn't mean we can't beat him. You know, like, think about it. And she gives him a pep talk, and she says, what's the next step? What do we do? And Daredevil says, we need an army. And then it cuts to the next day. Fisk declares martial law. He has all the vigilantes in cages, including Swordsman and Punisher. Daredevil and Karen are talking at Josie's, where he walks out to his ragtag team of people who are going to try their best to take down Wilson Fisk. Now, I won't lie. When I first watched the episode, I thought the fucking Defenders were going to be in the bar, and I would have lost my shit if that happened. However, I watched an interview with the directors of the episode, Benson and Moorhead, right as soon as the episode ended. It had posted on the Brandon Davis Face Hero channel. And he straight up asked him about it. He was like, I thought the Defenders were going to be in there. And the director said there were some conversations about including one or two people in there, but then the feeling would have been, oh, taking down Fisk is going to be easy, and we don't want that to be the feeling at this point. And I was like, that's fair. That's fair. I still would have liked to see it, but that's fair. My question for you...
I mean, they could have thrown in some, like, Defenders Light, you know, throw in a Claire, throw in a Colleen Wing, maybe a Misty Knight.
An Echo.
You know, maybe an Echo even, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they all know Matt Murdock and Daredevil are one and the same?
I think they do
I
now.
feel like they kept that vague, but I feel like it's yes.
Because the only one that knew was Cherry. But now that they're all in the bar. Now, granted, he did put on the mask before walking out. Like, he didn't walk out maskless. But I think it would be weird to keep that a secret from them. Especially considering Matt's fucking apartment blew up. So I wouldn't be shocked if, you know, Matt's missing as well in the next season. I want to know what happened to his other suits. Did they make it
the
out?
Yellow suit okay? I need to. Well, we saw a bunch of set photos of the black suit, so that one got out.
But it looks like it's like painted over the red suit. So I don't know. Well, I mean, we'll see. But
we'll see. Yeah. No, I don't know. But I mean, you see, I just like the idea that Josie knows.
Yes, I would love.
Can I just tell you, on a whole, just the fact that they brought Josie back made me so happy.
And they utilized her. That made me happy too.
Yeah, no, and Josie's is their hideout. You know, I loved it. I am curious though with ramifications for the MCU as a whole, because like a lot of shit takes place in New York.
Yeah,
so,
I'm very curious if Thunderbolts takes place before or after.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm heading with it as well. Where's Spider-Man going to take place? You know, how are you addressing this? And we have a whole Punisher special as well.
Yes. Oh my God.
They do. I feel like they tease. I feel like that's what that post-credit scene was.
So I was thinking that, but it's also confirmed that John Bernthal is going to be back in season 2 of Daredevil. So I'm wondering if his special very much could be just how he escapes and goes on from there. But I'm wondering if his special is going to be what he's been up to in between Netflix and now. I would love that if that was the case.
Oh, like a catch up after his shows.
I don't know if that's going to be the case, but I would love it because when he breaks out, he's not freeing the others. Fuck those people. He's just going home.
I hope he gets Swordsman. I hope it's a two-hander with Punisher and Swordsman.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's a cameo where he walks by and Swordsman's like, "Oh, thanks for letting us out," and he's like, "I'm not letting you out," and he just fucking leaves.
I got out. You do it for yourself.
But two things I want to run by you, Nicholas. One, do you think that fan backlash against them not doing, at least from what we see right now, of them not doing the Secret Life of Foggy Nelson comic book story, do you think that holds any water at this point? Because I'll be honest, I don't think you should be upset by that because the company Marvel never told you or teed up that that's what they were going to do. It became an online thing where people realized, hey, there's a comic book where Foggy fakes his own death. And it was Vanessa, so this must be what's been going on. And it picked up this huge steam over the weeks and weeks and weeks of the show. And I bet you there are going to be people who watch this episode expecting Foggy to be there, especially when a lot of bullshit Twitter accounts say he's going to be there, which was fun to see over the course of the weeks, being like, well, these guys are full of shit. But I
Yeah,
have
I
a
had
feeling.
figured out which update accounts to block and stuff from
Yeah,
this.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But it was just interesting to see, because even I was gaslit into thinking, like, did they keep a secret post-credit scene from the press and, like, I'm going to watch this and Foggy's going to be alive? Like, even I was like, damn, like, what's going on? Again, not saying that they can't do that next season, because we know that Eldon will be back. That's been confirmed. But I've always assumed that was going to be in flashbacks of some sort. Do you think there's a realness to that, or do you think that for once the internet will be kind of reasonable in realizing that that wasn't teed up for them?
I think it's a valid theory to have played with, especially
Mm-hmm.
with, specifically the creative overhaul bringing them back being
Mm-hmm.
episodes 1, 7, and 1, 8, and 9. I apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to me, I thought that they justified killing Foggy.
Me
While it
too.
was a shock at the beginning, and I thought that in the wrap up, they made Foggy's death important and integral to the
Especially
plot. Yeah.
especially when you go through the box and the avocados at law is in there and you have that moment. Like, that's
Exactly, and Matt's guilt and that arc bringing him back, Foggy's death being about Matt not wanting, I thought it gave a valid reason for Matt not wanting to put the suit back on.
mm-hmm.
But ultimately, even with the Red Hook stuff, that Foggy figured it out. Foggy's the one that figured it out at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day. So I
Mm-hmm.
felt like they did justice by the character in that regard. I feel like I would be a little disappointed if they went the cop out of like, "Oh, he's alive, secret," and now I'm saying that I think that they have great writers on the team. So if they
Yeah.
do it in a way that I could buy into and I doesn't feel cheap, then I would be into it, especially if it serves the greater purpose of the story. But I mean, I think I'm perfectly content with him being back in some flashbacks. I'm perfectly fine with him being blurred out in the background if they keep that
Like
style
season
of
3, yeah.
Matt being haunted by ghosts of his past, because I think it's one of those things of Foggy was in a way Matt's moral compass to a certain degree. So I think him being able to have that dialogue with him, I think is important to showing Matt's internal processes.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And I'm with you. Like, I would also kind of be disappointed if they undid it at this point. And I say that as, if you give me the option, Foggy alive or dead, Foggy alive, like, in terms
Yeah,
of
yeah, no,
preference.
I'm with you.
But I also think, because I saw a theory online, Nicholas, because it like you mentioned, there's great writers on the team, and it all comes down to how it's done. And the only theory I've seen online where it's like, hey, they could make Foggy being alive work if they did it like this. And I was like, ooh, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't hate it if they did that. And that is, keep playing with that idea of Matt and the reason for putting on or taking off the suit, and have Matt actually kill somebody in the name of Foggy. And then as soon as he does, we find out Foggy is alive.
Mm.
That is the only way, narratively, it would be satisfying. Like if Daredevil killed Vanessa and then Foggy was alive, that is like, whoa. Like that
I
is,
mean, he did chuck Bullseye off the roof immediately, and
yeah.
to me, I viewed that as intent to kill.
Oh, no, of course. And the show did as well. The show
Yeah.
100% did. But he didn't. Like, and that was the reason for taking off the suit, right? I think if he killed somebody and then Foggy was alive, it's a whole another crashing of his world in a way. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I don't think that's what they're going to do. I do think that Foggy is dead. And I think narratively, what they've done, they did the impossible task of killing one of my favorite characters and then showing me narratively why they did for the story they were telling. And it worked.
Mhm.
I honestly think it did. Now,
No,
granted, I'm excited to
do
see
agree.
more of Eldon Henson next season, and I'm curious how they do it.
No, same. But I mean, listen, I think the season was great. I think it was a step up. I think it
Oh,
was a
yeah.
huge win that Marvel desperately needed.
Mhm.
And as a Daredevil fan, after feeding off of crumbs for years, it was nice to have a nice steak dinner.
Yeah, and something that I'll say too, one, 100% yes, but something I'll say too is one thing you really got to give the show, because yes, it went through a creative overhaul, but the overhaul built upon what was shot before. It didn't ignore it entirely, which I thought was actually a writing accomplishment. Like,
yeah, because what 2 through 7 was pretty much all new or
basically,
all the original show.
with a couple of exceptions. Like the fight scene with Muse in 6 was a reshoot with Phil Cervera.
Well, Muse was gonna probably play a much larger role.
Yeah, everything with Adam, I think, was an addition. Like just all of that stuff. Yeah. But mostly was the original show. And like you get Matt in episode 8, which is a completely new, revamped episode, talking about the Cromwell, talking about Hector Ayala, talking about things that were in that old show. Like they used it to build upon his arc. They didn't be like, all right, that was that show and this is this show. Even in this finale episode, he thinks about Hector Ayala. Like it was a great writing accomplishment to like take something that was already intended to be one thing and being like, I got this. I can make this kind of work for this new thing to connect it and move forward. I thought it was very well done. And for a show, how many shows do we watch where the pilot episode or something starts off by saying, this is the goal with the show, and this is how we're going to earn it, and it actually works? It's not as often as you think. This show started by killing Foggy and him quitting being Daredevil and saying, trust us, we will earn this decision, and you will buy it when he comes back. And you do. Like, they had a mission, and they did it. And now that that's over, and there's no overhaul going on, pump season 2 into my veins, please. Jesus Christ. Christ.
Season 2 is going to be nutty.
Oh, my God. I'm more excited for season 2 of this than probably Doomsday.
Honestly, yeah.
It's so...
You're not wrong.
Granted, when I see one trailer for Doomsday, that'll probably change. But, like, So, the last thing I want to talk about before we go here.
Yeah.
In your mind, and I'm talking realism, not hopes, who's on this army that he drafts to take down Kingpin?
Oh, man. I think for certain, Jessica Jones.
Okay. And by the way, before you continue, I might throw out characters, and you just tell me like percentage in your mind, like how likely that is.
All right,
Jessica Jones.
100%.
100. Okay.
I'm going. Jessica Jones is in season 2. 100%.
Okay. Luke Cage.
Like Mike Coulter.
Luke Cage.
I'm going to put it at a 25% chance for a cameo in the club. Because the club is a billboard when Fisk gives his inauguration speech.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he will be part of the army.
Okay. Echo.
I'm going to put Echo at a 75% chance, I think, of showing up. Mm-hmm. And I think she's going to flip-flop. I think she's going to start out as being... I think Fisk is going to have another vigilante task force.
Mm-hmm.
His version of a superhero team. And I think he will have recruited Echo to it. And I think then she will flip-flop.
I think Echo is 100% going to be in it. She's 100% for me. I don't think she's going to be working for Fisk because the end of the Echo show, that would be very surprising to me. Now, I do think she's going to try to go to him one more time and save him one more time.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's going to be working with him.
Well, wait, okay, so you're at 100% on Echo. Where were you at Jessica Jones and Luke Cage?
Jessica Jones, I'm at 75.
Okay.
Just because, yes, Kristen Ritter's in New York filming something for Dexter, I think, right now, and Daredevil's filming in New York. So it's entirely possible. I feel like not all of her scenes are inside, and we would have seen a set photo by now. Personally. Now.
Fair.
Luke Cage, I'm going to give it 50%. I think you got a 50-50 shot with Luke Cage.
And this is on the team, like not necessarily.
This is appearing.
Appearing, okay.
Yeah. On the team, 100% Echo, 75% Jessica Jones, because I think, theory time, I think they're going to kill Cherry.
I
And
like Cherry.
I do too,
Sorry.
but I think they're going to kill Cherry, and Matt is going to get Jessica to be a new investigator for him temporarily.
That's what I figured. I think Cherry was subject to Jessica Jones' unavailability, but I like Cherry.
No, I do too.
I did.
I do too. Now, I also think that, all right, let's have fun.
Oh boy.
Finn Jones, Iron Fist.
0% chance.
0?
I'm going 0.
I'll go 25. I'll go.
25.
There's a 25% chance.
Okay.
Colleen Wing, Jessica Henwick.
25%.
I'll go 30%. I'll go 30% chance.
I think they're gonna move away from Iron Fist because really, if you look at the end of the day, right, what is Iron Fist providing? I guess you, like
He's a
I can
billionaire.
see he is, but I see more narrative ends with like Jessica Jones' private investigator and Luke Cage being quote unquote the kingpin of a club. Like a crime lord in that regard. So I feel like that leads to a lot more narrative threads than what maybe Iron Fist could provide.
That's fair, but I could also see, how they had like the billionaires ball where they were trying to get everybody's money?
Yeah.
I could see them doing one where Danny Rand goes and is like trying to get the in on what's going on with Fisk. Now, granted, narratively, by that logic, Gwyneth Paltrow should also be going, ain't no way in shit she's going to come and be on TV.
Could you imagine if they got Gwyneth Paltrow in Daredevil?
That would be insane, dude. Insane.
Can I go -% chance of that happening?
Yeah. All right, let's go. I'm trying to think more New York people.
Spider-Man.
0. Just because Brad Winderbaum straight up said, like, we can't use them. All right, how about...
Swordsman and Punisher? I think Swordsman will show back
100%,
up again.
100%. Here's one. Kate Bishop.
Ooh. Well, you see, I feel like that depends on what route they're going. If a Hawkeye 2 is in the works, or if there's any rumors to this Young Avengers series, because or show, because you had Kamala's dad saying she was in California. There is a West Coast Avengers. I believe Kate Bishop is in some of the iterations, but I don't know for sure.
Hold on, just want to shout out. We got Ronald Casting in the live chat. How's it going? Hold on, let's get him up on the screen here.
A indeed. So I would say I'd put Kate Bishop at a 15% chance.
15?
Probably a little low, but we're gonna go for it.
I'm gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna go 60.
Yeah, Kate Bishop, huh? Well, because of the Swordsman connection?
The Swordsman connection, and I'm going to go 75% chance Miss Marvel shows up.
And what about Vera Farmiga?
0. But I think...
I do believe Miss Marvel. Well...
I think Miss Marvel shows up, and the last time we saw her, she was with Kate Bishop.
But do you think that's going to extend to, like, Ant-Man's daughter?
When? It's kind of the thing, like, Daredevil comes out next year. They're shooting it right now. And, like, have they shot a Young Avengers thing before that? I don't think so. I don't think they have.
That's true, but I guess adding Miss Marvel and Kate Bishop, like, are we just blowing the story way out of proportion at this point? Like, are we...
Well, it all depends on how they're utilized, right? Like, I'm not saying that they're going to come in and just beat the shit out of everyone. But, we are dealing with the Marvel Universe. We could be dealing with that thing where, what's that collar called that they put on mutants to, like, suppress their powers?
Oh, yeah, I don't know what it's called, but I know what you're talking about.
We could be talking about one of those that Fisk gets their hands on, and then they're throwing them on Kamala Khan and
I think
everybody.
I would almost prefer, yes, cameo, but I feel like I'd almost rather, like, it be, like, almost like a hero of the week type deal. Like, I would love for it to connect somehow, like, Daredevil needs to go get Swordsman and rescue him. But, like, he runs into Kate Bishop, like, just really expanding slowly Daredevil into this Marvel Universe to show him these vigilantes about, and show sort of how they're dealing with what's going on as opposed to necessarily recruiting for an army.
Yeah, no, that could be what's happening.
Like, let's have him go to the cons for dinner. Let me see that.
See, I think, and that's exactly why I think Kamala Khan could show up in the show. And I think
Mhm.
something you can set up is he does go to the cons for dinner, and he has a brief conversation with Kamala Khan. And what does Kamala Khan have from the Marvels? She has that shield or that is it sword, that tablet
Mhm.
with everybody's information on it.
Yeah.
So she could talk to him, look up Matt Murdock, and of course Sword probably knows that he's Daredevil. And then you have this whole moment of like, oh shit. And then maybe on the TV, she's watching the news and like all the vigilantes are held captive and Miss Marvel hops over to go help. Or, you could, I think Frank Castle's 100%. I think, now, dude, if they 11th hour pulled off a deal for Spider-Man to show up and they kept that shit under wraps,
No way.
there's no way, but like, would you consider it like one of the best moments in the history of anything occurring?
Oh, if I see Daredevil, Punisher, and Spider-Man together, I mean,
Dude.
absolutely. But do you
Done.
think, like, right? Like, do you think season 2 ends with like a greater intro to the MCU? Like, do you think we get like, we're not, we've been naming a lot of characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel. But do you think we get like the big one? You know what I mean? Like, do you think we get like a Captain America? Do we get actually? Oh, here's one for you.
Bucky.
There's a senator running around. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, you know what I actually think
So
is
that,
really
you
likely,
know what I mean? Like, I feel like we
depending
haven't gotten the
on,
big like MCU. You know?
yeah, and like a Captain America would be very cool. That would be very cool to see. I think it'd be even cooler to see Bruce Banner for no reason other than I like him. But something that I think could actually, depending on the events of Thunderbolts, right? I haven't seen Thunderbolts, although we did get our invites. But Val would be interesting working with Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
She owns Avengers Tower now.
Yeah.
And so that would be an interesting villain team up there.
No, it would be, especially with her Thunderbolts team squatted up. I guess it depends on like, but is Doomsday primarily like an off-Earth movie? Because obviously
Mhm.
we have a lot of the Thunderbolts confirmed to be returning. It in that, so I'm wondering, and there's also rumors of Spider-Man taking place simultaneously to Doomsday. Does
Mhm.
Daredevil also take place
Mhm.
at that same moment, just Earth-based? I don't know.
I just need someone on the press tour for Thunderbolts to ask these questions. I need to go, hey, when does Daredevil season 2 take place? When does Spider-Man take place? Can you tell us these things now? And Kevin Feige just
Mhm.
goes, no, I simply won't. And it's like, thank you, fucking God, and then leave.
Does Taskmaster make it past Seed 1 in Thunderbolts? And he's just like, no.
Yeah. So, God, I'm just so excited. Like a 7-year wait for Daredevil to come back, like in true form, not just a small cameo breadcrumbs like you mentioned. I'm wholly satisfied. I'm
No,
wholly
absolutely.
satisfied with the
Same here.
return. I loved the season. I love this episode. And I cannot wait for season 2. Last question, and then we'll sign off here. Is season 2 of Born Again? Because remember, the original order was for 18 episodes originally. And this is technically going to be a new, like, they're probably just going to hit that count that they originally ordered, right?
Yeah.
Is this the last season?
Ooh.
And they brought it back to do, like, this extended story, and then that's it.
I mean, I could see that, but if to me, Daredevil was Daredevil Born Again was a massive success here. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
what their streaming numbers look like, but if it's a success, they're gonna want to keep it for all it got.
Oh, yeah.
What they can do. But and Vincent D'Onofrio says he is hell bent on playing Wilson Fisk until the day he dies.
Yeah.
So I think that there's gonna be a pause between season 2
Mm-hmm.
and a potential season 3. Because I could see them focusing on like the Punisher special, right? Maybe more specials. Maybe we get like a Bullseye special. But I could see them
Heroes for
using
hire,
it.
heroes for hire, heroes for hire.
I could see them
Please.
using it as a basis for something like that, a Defenders show. I could see them using it as a branch to developing perhaps a Daredevil feature. or
Dude, don't even say that.
or using or using that leverage to negotiate a story of like a Spider-Man 6 or something being full out like Kingpin, Daredevil, Punisher, like,
Dude,
you know.
that would be my Marvel fanboy dream come
So
true, is a
I could
movie
see
with
that.
those.
I could see it definitely being, I if it is the last season, it is definitely not the last we'll be seeing of the
Mhm.
characters, I think.
And the thing that sucks is, from the current knowledge that we have,
Hmm.
Spider-Man can't go on TV, Kingpin can't go in a movie, and it's
Yeah,
just
see, I
like,
thought that was weird
fuck.
to me about Kingpin specifically.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
I could see the streaming numbers and the success being that determining factor. I
Mhm.
think that a season 3 is the most reasonable to
Uh,
happen out of all of that.
I agree.
But if season 2 is just phenomenal and blows everything out of the water, I could see them leaning into like a feature, more specials and stuff.
And I just love having Matt Murdock pop up. Like, I loved him in um No Way Home. Dude, honestly, Daredevil characters popping up. Like, I would love there to be a situation where Karen Page shows up in a fucking Thunderbolts too.
Hmm.
Just like, that would be cool to see. Now, there's one hero I forgot to ask you about, and then I swear to God we'll actually sign off.
You're good.
There's one hero I forgot to ask you about. My number is going to surprise you. What's your percentage on She-Hulk?
Ooh. I'm gonna go 60, no hulking.
60, no hulking. Okay. I will go 75% no hulking. I'll go 40% hulking.
Mm. I mean, she's West Coast and Kamala's there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that could be something. Maybe there's a little bottle episode. Matt's got to go out
Mm-hmm.
and help her,
And
and then
listen,
She Hulk's
they've
there.
teed up the dynamic of Matt and Kamala. I'm way more interested in the Punisher and Kamala because I would. Do you know how emotional it would make me if the Punisher got to sit down and have a family dinner? Oh God, that would make me so sad, and just like him bonding with like being a
Family
mentor to like a
unit.
young girl. Oh, be so good,
That would
be
be
so
good.
good. But guys, that will do it for our live spoiler discussion of the season 1 finale, episode 9 of Daredevil Born Again. Maybe we'll do this again for season 2. I would like to. If you'd like to, let us know in the comments below. These were always so much fun to do. Thank you for coming with us on this journey. Nicholas, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
And guys, as always, thank you for watching and keep watching Daredevil.